Hey, you out there?
Hi.
Hey, let me finish brushing my teeth real fast, okay?
What happened?
I got crap stuck in my teeth.
Your feet.
We were watching from the next room on the monitor as Robert Lyons came into the backyard and started to open the sliding door to come into the kitchen.
Just hang out at the kitchen counter for a second, okay?
What happened?
Do you want a drink or something?
No, it's okay.
All right, just hang out at the counter. I gotta go get my shirt on.
Hang on, try.
Sit down at the counter for a second. I gotta go get my shirt on.
He was leery, suspicious, and sneaky looking. You know, he kind of looks in and peers around, and as it turned out, Lyons had good reason to be suspicious. It wasn't his first time down this path.
Robert Lyons and his lewd or lascivious acts with a child 14 or 15 years old. So same sort of sex crime. Robert Emmett Lyons. What's crazy is he says check this out, he says in the chat that he is 28, right?
Right.
That ain't no 28.
There's no way he's 28.
In fact, he was 68 years old. Now, we see a lot of fibbing online about ages, but it's usually 5 or 10 years. You know, not 40 years.
This is his picture, right? That's his sex offender registry picture. It's the same guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is the same.
When you think that this guy had just recently pleaded guilty to having sex with an underage boy, that he had the guts to tell somebody who was 40 years younger than he really was, and then to follow through on the chat by actually showing up, I mean, it's stunning. What was your plan here today, Robert?
No plan.
No plan at all. You know, I've got the transcripts of your conversation here.
I'm sorry?
I've got the transcripts of your conversation here. You say to him, I'll be your girlfriend and you be my boyfriend, huh? He says, are you a girl? You say, nah, sometimes I wish I really was. He says, what do you wear? You say, panties, bra. It's a pretty sexually charged conversation, Robert, to have with a 13-year-old boy. What conclusion am I to draw from this?
Just conversation that probably was offhanded.
What it sounds like, Robert, is that you wanted to come here to have a sexual liaison with a 13-year-old boy.
No, that was not my intention.
What was your intention?
Just to talk, whatever.
The problem, Robert, is that your history would contradict that, given the fact that you are a registered sex offender. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
And what were you convicted of before?
Lewd conduct.
Lewd conduct. Specifically, what was that conduct?
With a minor.
With a minor. What did you do with a minor?
Sexual.
Sexual. In what way sexual?
There was intercourse.
Intercourse. So you had intercourse with a underage boy.
Yes.
Even though we do as much background research as we can on these guys, there are still certain things that you only find out once you're face to face and you can have a discussion. So you were convicted of that. How long were you in prison?
I'm sorry?
How long were you in prison for that offense?
I wasn't in prison.
You weren't in prison. You got probation?
Correct.
How long were you on probation?
I'm still on probation.
You're still on probation now. So you're on probation for having sex with a boy, how old?
15.
15. And now you're in this house to meet a 13-year-old boy. How does that look, Robert?
I didn't know he was 13.
He said so. He was just coming over to talk and hang out. He was not going to deviate from the script one bit. He was going to stick to his story until the bitter end. What would have happened if I wasn't here, Robert?
I don't know. We probably would have talked and met up, that's it.
And talked and met up, is that what you did with the 15-year-old boy in the last case?
I made a mistake of just And I didn't even know he was 15. He told me he was 18.
What did you learn from your previous mistake?
I learned to be more careful, more astute, stay away from, or not to be subjected to either proposition or making propositions to anybody.
But Robert, you're in a home trying to meet a 13-year-old boy. You had to register as a sex offender.
Correct.
Do you see a counselor?
Correct.
You do. And when was the last time you saw your counselor?
About 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago. Did you talk about your sexually charged conversation on the internet with a 13-year-old boy?
No.
Why did you tell 13-year-old Luke that you were 40 years younger than you actually are?
Because I think the internet is a place where you just, it's always been a pretension.
A pretension.
You pretend to be this, you pretend to be that, but it's not really.
Is this pretend what you're doing here today?
No.
It seems pretty real to me.
This was real.
Yeah, it's real.
You showing up here is real, yeah.
So what does that say about your ability to distinguish between what is pretend and what is real?
There's a fine line between that. It's kind of a...
You know what could happen to you now as a convicted sex offender?
Correct.
Showing up here. What should happen to you?
I'm not really sure. Probably more enforcement of my counseling.
Well, Robert, I've got to tell you something. I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on computer predators. If there's anything else you'd like to say to us, we'd like to hear it. If not, there's obviously nothing I can do to keep you here, and you're obviously free to go. He knows he's in significant trouble. I mean, if you go back and look at the record from the previous case,
Just drop it.
It would appear
keys down,
that
it's all
he perhaps got probation instead of prison time, because the 15-year-old boy he pleaded guilty to having sex with told him he was older.
How old? 68?
And he wasn't going to catch a break on this one because it said in the transcript this boy was 13.
Robert Lyons.
Yeah.
Oh, I had somebody else.
Clearly he's had experience going through the criminal justice system, but it became pretty clear immediately during the police interview that Lyons knew his way around the system and saw no benefit whatsoever in having any meaningful conversation with detectives.
Why are you here? Tell me what's going on today. What are you coming over to the house for?
At this point, I think I've talked to an attorney on this.
Okay.
You down for getting head? I am me if you is. I give money to blow, 'cause I got the money and I don't mind. I don't have AIDS and I'm not getting it. I'm like a bottom guy. Would you go to bed with me if I was wearing panties? Thanks, foo. I don't fuck guys, but if you want, you can do me. You can do me doggy style if you want. I'll suck you first, okay? You can come in my mouth.